Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me here today. Today I'm kind of working on something that you guys have asked me for. So a couple of days ago I posted up a new craft haul from The Works. Pick up a few bits from them every so often. I do really like their products. And I picked this up and mentioned that this would be really good for like a decorative paper card. And I've been asked what I would do with this that doesn't need a lot of work. Now, I do already have a couple of videos on my channel showing some decorative paper cards. There is a playlist, so please feel free to go and head over to that playlist. But I thought I'd just do a video to show you some of the styles in one single video and using a brand new pad that you can go out and buy today. I've also picked this pad out because one, I still haven't put it away properly, and two, I actually really like this. I think it's such a beautiful pad, and because it's still available, not only can you guys go and purchase it and maybe replicate some of these cards, I can also go and repurchase it if I need to. So I've grabbed this one out and we're just going to talk through making some decorative paper cards. Now, when you're starting off, when you look at a paper pad and you're thinking whether it's going to work for a decorative card or not, one, pretty much anything with some sort of pattern would work as a decorative paper card. Um, you can absolutely use plain colours in that as well, but you're going to probably want to embellish that a little bit more than if you've got something with a pattern. The next thing you want to consider is the size of the cards that you're going to make. And that consideration comes in from a couple of different points. The first one being you may just have a favourite size that you like to work with. And you may have a favourite size that, for me, who's someone who sells my cards, has a size that tends to sell better than others. So I know for me personally, for my customers, the larger cards don't sell as well as my smaller cards. So when I'm looking for a decorative print, I'm looking for something a little bit smaller. Something with a smaller print, which all of these have, that will allow me to use it on all of the card sizes I want to use. If you are somebody who prefers to work with the larger cards, then absolutely these small prints will work too, but you'll also have a bigger scope to use the larger prints as well. So take that into consideration. You also need to consider what card blanks you've got available to you. And there are some people like myself who choose to buy card blanks in. That's my choice. I prefer to buy card blanks in than I do making them. Maybe you're somebody who prefers to make them, and therefore you can make your card blanks whatever size you need them. Apologies. Again, that's entirely up to you what you do. Maybe you're starting out and you prefer card blanks. Take a look at the card blanks you've got and look at what prints you've got to decide which is going to look the best. Another one is just what your favourite prints are. Please don't feel the need to go out and buy this paper pad if you don't like this paper pad. Any of the designs that I show you, any of the cards that I make can be replicated in any patterned papers you've got at all. So just because I'm working with this, maybe you're not into florals, maybe you prefer, I don't know, animals, maybe you prefer seasonal prints like Christmas ones or Halloween, autumn or spring. You use whatever you've got in. I'm using this because I happen to really like this paper pad, but you don't have to. Another thing to consider is how much waste you want out of these sheets. I haven't personally done any videos, but there are plenty of crafters out there that do like chop it up videos where they will take a single piece of 12 by 12 paper and they will cut it in a way that there is either no waste or very minimal waste to make lots of different sizes and styles of cards. Definitely go check them out. I watch them quite often. I haven't had a go at it yet myself. I tend to just cut into the paper and do whatever I want, really. But there's definitely cards out there that you can use where you take one sheet and cut it up as to make as few cards as possible. I'm kind of just going to literally chop into these. I don't know how many I'm going to make, but as I say, all of the cards that I make will be easily replicated. In terms of what I'm using, I'm going to be using my card blanks. I think pretty much I'm not sure if I'm going to do all in this size, but most of my cards are probably going to be in the C6 size. These are a white card blank. I buy them kind of in bulk. I buy 150 at a time from Amazon. These are Craft UK cards, and all I do with all of my card blanks is I put them in these little plastic folders so that I can easily identify which card I've got, and I can easily see how many I've got left, and I've got another 100 of the card blanks stocked up on my shelves out the way as well. So most are going to be this size. A lot of the time I also work with like 4x4s, 5x5s, but I'm out of 4x4s. I do have some 5x5s, so I may treat you to a few of those, but I think for the most part they're going to be this. You'll need like your adhesive, your scissors or a cutting tool or something. You can use your die cutting machines. I'm not sure if I will today, but you absolutely can. And then just to make this stretch a little bit further and to break up those images, things like plain cardstock that's going to match, maybe some mirror or glitter card. Then you can embellish it how you want. I use quite a few of the peel-offs usually when I'm doing something like this, just to help split it up a little bit. You've got your gems, there's glues, there's loads of embellishments. So we'll kind of see how we go. As I say, some of these designs you will have probably seen before, but let's put them all together. So I really like this, and I don't have a preference, so I'm just going to open the front sheet. And the first sheet we've got is this one. These are double-sided, so I've also got that on the back, but we're going to focus on this side here. Now, what I like about the works is that they have a lot of these really nice pattern ones, and then they have these slightly plainer ones as well. You can absolutely use these if you look. That's going to match that colour tone perfectly. However, it does have a gorgeous little print on the back. And to be honest with you, I'm pretty sure I'm going to have something that's going to match this anyway in my stock. So I'm not going to use that just now. Not saying I won't go back to it, but I'm not going to use it just now. So let's take a look at this. So it is directional, and we're looking at this as our direction. Now this is a 12x12 sheet, and the works are pretty good at their sizes, to be fair. Yeah, dead on 12x12. We've got our C6, so I'm just going to grab some of these out as well. Pop that up there out the way. And then we can start looking for some papers that are going to match this. So just looking over at like my 6x6 pile, what have we got in here? This is the brights. Probably not got anything in the brights actually. We have got that really nice rich purple, which will play in some of those purple tones, so I can definitely use that one. This is the pastel one. This is a little bit more loved. So in here we've got this gorgeous pastel lilac that I'm going to be able to play with. We've got this, it's even paler. We've got that one as well. So we've got plenty of colours in that. So I'm just grabbing some bits and pieces that I can play with. What else have I got over here? This is another well-used paper pad for me. We've got some of these gorgeous whites. We've got lots of embossed ones. We've got like glitter. So I'm going to grab that out because I can match this up with that as well. What else we've got over here? It's such a big one. I've got my card stock to the left here in the big tub. I'm not going to grab that just yet. What else have we got here? Thinking these might be a bit too dark. So I do have a single sheet of that. It's probably a bit too on the bright side, maybe. It's quite bright, isn't it? Maybe too bright. I'm not sure. We'll see. Maybe it'll be a bit fun. And then I've got some like Centura Pearl, and I've got some grey, some cream and things. So let's grab my chopper. Now, this up. Now the C6 cards that I'm going to be working with, let me just grab one of the card blanks. So this is roughly, because I'm not sure what size they will be called. So this is ever so slightly just over the 4 inches by ever so slightly over the 5 3/4. That's the full size. So what I usually come in at is 3 3/4. It's giving me roughly 1/4 of an inch. And then I usually come in at the 5 1/2. So that is going to give us that as a panel. That's if I'm just popping this straight onto here. If I'm putting a panel underneath it to give me a bigger or a different border, then I'll go another 1/4 of an inch smaller on that. Just depends on what I'm doing. So I'm going to cut 2 out this side. So we'll come in again at 5 1/2. That's going to leave me with this slither, which I'm going to put to one side, okay? Because it will come in for another one. Then I'm going to take another one of these, and I'm going to come in at 3 1/2 because I want to put a border around. And we're going to come in at 5 1/4. And again, I'm going to chop 2 of these up. That leaves me with another one of these. Again, I'm going to put to one side for a little bit later. So I'm going to work on these 2 cards first of all. So, let me grab something quite pretty. Might go for one of these textured ones here. I'm going to go for a textured one. That'll work. So, because these don't have the bottom board, I'm not going to put a board around it. I know I need to come in at the 5 1/2. And the 3 3/4. Okay. And I know what you're thinking, well, that's exactly the same size. You're right, it is. I'm going to put them together. I'm going to cut this at an angle. There's no measurements whatsoever. But layering them one on top of each other means I know that they are now going to fit. So now what I've got is I'm going to pair that up with that one. And I'm going to do the same with this one. But I'm going to do it that way. And what I've now made is I've made 2 gorgeous cards that just need a sentiment and a little bit of embellishments. So that can go to one side. And now what I can do is I'm going to grab a different one. Might go for the glitter for this one actually. I haven't got much of this left because I do really like this glitter one. But I'm going to take a glitter one and I'm going to do something similar. And all of these little scraps I'm just going to put to one side because they'll come in for my other cards for those. So I'm going to do the same again. So I'm going to come in at 5 1/2, 3 3/4, like so. Now this one I'd normally do with a square card, but it will work absolutely fine for this too. I'm going to take my card, I'm going to lay it on top of each other. I'm going to cut corner to corner. So. I'm going to rest the big edge along there, down to the corner. Those will sit like that. I'm going to do the same with this one. That edge, corner to corner, and trim. And then what we'll have, just make sure you get them the right way up. That it will look slightly off just because we're working in rectangle instead of a square. But they will all line up. So that one will look like that, and then you're going to have the opposite on the other one, and I don't know if this is in view. Then you're going to have the opposite here. So this will have a little bit less of that decorative paper, but it still absolutely works. And that's how your second one will look. Then we're going to put some of the border strips that will just join all of that up, and then a sentiment through the middle on both of those. I really like all of those so far. So that's another 2 cards that you can do. And then with these 2 smaller ones, I'm going to show, this is just the most simple decorative card you can do. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use a piece of mirror and cut myself a base panel for this with the mirror. So I need to come in at 3 3/4 by 5.5. So that's to show you what it will look like on a mirror panel. And then I just got a feeling that's just a bit too bright. I do like it, but I think it's too bright. I've just put those on there, and of course I have. Yeah, I think it looks better on that, doesn't it? So let's grab one of these. Now what I have noticed with these, and I have had these pads for a bit now, they've started to just kind of, they're not in the sun, so I don't know why, but they've just kind of started to fade a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just trim off where it's faded a bit from both sides, and now I'll measure it. So we want 3 3/4 by 5.5. So that is that. If we put it on just a plain coloured background, that's kind of going to match and tie in all of those colours. And then just to make it easier to put these ones together, I am just going to grab a blank piece of cardstock that I've got. Use that one. You know you've got loads of it, and then it's finding it. This is some old cardstock that won't go through my printer. I'm just going to cut myself off a few of those panels. So I want 3 3/4. And 5.5. There we go. That's my 4 panels for those other 4 cards. Let's shift that out of the way. And I know I'm not giving you necessarily any measurements, and the reason being is because the measurements will depend entirely on what card sizes you're making. So if you're working A6s like me, then the measurements I've given you will work perfectly. But if you're working with a different card, I don't want to give you the sizes and them not work for you. So I'm going to put these easy ones together first. Should in theory be a bit easier. I'm going to attach my adhesive to these to make sure I put plenty on. Line that up there like that. Take this one. Line that one up too. So there we have that. same again. That. And like that. So that one was perfectly sized, or near enough. I might just give it a trim. Sometimes because I do the panels separate, I find I'm a little bit off. Let me grab my little mini trimmer. These should fit in this. So I'm just going to, it's only one side, I'm just going to trim this ever so slightly, just to neaten it up a little bit. Oh, that's that one. It's just neatened it up slightly. And I just need to do the same with this one too. There we go. So again, I've hardly taken anything off. I've just neatened it up. And then I think I want silver on these. In fact, I can do this bit later, can't I? But let's just scrub it out. There we go. So I'm going to put that in between those. And then we're going to put these two together, just so you can see what they're going to look like. This is where it's, these ones are a bit harder to work out. So, let's grab this one. Line that up. And hold on, put this one in next actually. Go. This one should fit nicely in here. Doesn't matter if it's ever so slightly off, because I'm going to put some of the peel-offs on anyway, so peel-offs always hide a multitude of sins. There we go. So that's that one. And then we're going to do it all over again with this one. That's those. So then I'm going to grab these. I'm going to follow that line, because that's that easy line that doesn't need to trim in. And then the middle one. there like so. And we can hide these joins with little embellishments. Oh. That's that one. Attach this straight away. Check this because this is a directional. I just want to make sure I attach this the right way to my card blank. So that's that one, ready for its embellishments and sentiments. I'm going to do the same, but this one needs a trim. I'll just trim this edge off. The other one wasn't so bad, but you can see with this one. Just a little trim. Corner to corner with this one. Following that line straight down there. Oh. I'm just going to wrap these around here. And get this one stuck down. Card blank. Make sure it's the right way because of it being directional. Some of these smaller prints don't have a directional way, so it wouldn't matter too much, but this one does. So that's that one. I love this design. I think that's so pretty. And then we have these that are going to get the strips. We'll just go for the big one. So again, just hiding that cut line. That's all I'm doing. And if you haven't got any of these peel-offs, you don't need the peel-offs. If you have like any scraps of like mirror board or any glitter or anything like that, all you're really doing is hiding that seam. Even things like washi tape and that would work, if I'm honest. I'm just hiding where it joins. And then I'll stick my other two down as well. So I need 4 card blanks here. And again, we just have to be careful directional wise with these ones. There we have that one. I'm going to bring these two in. So this is the one with the mirroring. Apologies if you can hear any noise. At the time of recording this is absolutely chucking it down where I live. Absolutely throwing it down. So that's how that looks with a mirror, and I've used the silver rainbow mirror from Hunky Dory. And then that is it. Just to give you kind of like a comparison how the mirror can change the look of a card compared to using plain, like just a solid colour. And as always, like there's no rules on what you do here. So that makes us our first 6 cards, and that's 3 different designs. So we've got the solid, we've got the split, and then we've got that one as well. I'm going to leave all the sentiment and embellishment and that to the end. So then that leaves us with this panel here, which will get me at least 2 more cards out of. And then we've also got these couple of panels here as well. They are slightly different size, but we can work with that absolutely. So the next design I'm going to do, I've done before, and it's very similar to one of these designs that we've done here, but it does give a slightly different look to it. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to chop this. I'm going to do it without a border. So we are going to be doing 3 3/4, and we are doing 5 1/2. And I'm going to do 2 of these. That now. I don't want it 5 1/2, do I? I want it 4. I want it 4. So let me go back in. Don't worry, none of this is going to go to waste. So let me chop that down to 4. I'm going to 4 with that. And then trying to think what card stock I've got. I think I want a pale pink. We had the one that I picked out originally, but let me just see what's in my stash. Let me see if I've got anything any paler. I think the textured one would work, but also I might find I've got some scraps in here that I can use instead. Always worth looking for scraps. Oops, sorry, didn't mean to hit you then. Just move that to one side a second. Tell you what, let me just pause the video. Let me see if I can find some pale pink scraps. Right, I've managed to find a couple of scraps of that pink instead of cutting into a whole packet. So as well as keeping my cards in folders, I've started to keep my scraps in these bags, and I've labelled them up, so like this is plain card scraps, so that if I'm looking for something in particular and I just need a little bit like I do for this, I can use that bag instead first. So I need these to be cut at 3 3/4, like so, and then just checking where my straight edge is. I think it's pretty straight on both, and then I want it 1.5 inches this way. I'm going to do the same with this one. I'm going to cut it down to 3 3/4 and 1.5 this way. So that's going to make me those panels. I'm also just going to grab another sheet of this and chop this up. So we go in 3 3/4. I really ought to have like a chopping session of just cutting all of these down. We made panels really, but that would mean I was organised. And then 5.5. This one. That's 2. So we've got some panels now to work with. So I need 2 of these for this particular card design, should I say. Right. Really to click off, cannot seem to shift it. Make sure I've got plenty of tape down. So we're going to go for one of these. Just need to make sure directional that way. So it's going to be my top. And then we've got the beautiful pink at the bottom. And we can trim it down, that's fine. So we've got that one. Then to get your piece in the right direction. There we go. So that's those 2. That's that, which we're going to put some peel-offs along. There we go. So that's 2 more. So it's a very similar style to this, but it does look different because of the way we've cut the papers down. So we've got that one. And then what that leaves us with is, let's have a look. What have we got? So we've got quite a few of these, most of which, as you can see, are the same size. We do have this one that's an oddball. That may end up being our scrap pack. And then we have this slither as well, which I think is going to work for some cards. We can make some cards with this, guys. So I've got my 2 panels. So what I'm thinking with this, I know that I can get 2 of these out of 1 12-inch strip. So I think I might cut this down and then put some coloured card, or you could even extend this even further and put like a thick strip of coloured card here and just have this as a little accent. I could do that, couldn't I? And then some coloured card along that side. Could go for another piece of the purple. I haven't got a big enough piece of the pink, but I could use one of the pieces of maybe the white. That would work. That would get me 2 more cards out of that, wouldn't it? I'm always on the lookout to extending this as far as I possibly can. So, let's have a go. Take this. Set to one side, look. This over. Come here. Then I'm going to take my other panel and do the same again. Go. So that's now only leaving me with that little square there. Then I grab this pad here. It's not a lot of this left. I might just go for this really pretty pearl. So this has got a gorgeous like pearl shine to it. Like so. I'm using my scissors and just trim around this. How beautiful is that? If I can get a second one out of this. Yeah, I might just do 2 the same with this one because this is such a pretty paper. Though that is where it was joined onto the book. So let me just ever so gently. It's just got that, you know, where it's like attached to the book. You get that like layer of glue. There we go. So that now gives me 2 of those. So that's another 4. And then all that leaves me with is this. And what have I got in my scraps? So I've got some glitter scraps, got some of this, and I've even got one of the mirrors that we can use as well. So I'm going to have to cut myself another panel, of course. But what size is this? Roughly an inch. So let's cut some more of these off. I don't need a huge number of them, to be fair. So that's definitely an inch. 1, 2, 3 if we count that one. Let's see what we can get out of this. 4. So we've got 4 inches of that and just a couple of little scrappy pieces of this one. Then it doesn't matter that this is smaller. What is this? Let's have a look. This is about 1/2 inch. So I might actually do that for these and cut these at 1/2 inch too. So come in at that, trim that edge off. Come in at 1/2 inch. Come in again about 1/2 inch. Then where would the 1/2 inch be? I think it's there, isn't it? Fine. So we've got some of the glitter. Then I'm just going to do the same very quickly with this one. I don't want this first piece, but if you turn it over, trim this at that. I don't need a lot because I'm going to have a lot of the decorative papers, but there we go, that'll be fine. So I think, let's put this together and then we'll see just how much we've got left of our 12 by 12. So we've got a couple of decoratives. We've got that. I'm just going to have to chop another panel up. Remove my mini cutter because these don't fit in the mini cutter. So we want 3 3/4. Plenty of tape on this. Let's kind of see how we go. So I'm going to start off with one of the decorative pieces. And I'm going to try and put this as central as I possibly can. I never get it right, but it's okay. And then I'm going to kind of just build up a bit of a pattern. So we'll go for a purple. Go for glitter. Another decorative one. And some of this along the bottom. I can always chop another bit of this off, I'm not bothered. And spin it round, and I'm going to follow the same pattern. So we're going to go in with the purple. I'm going to go in with a strip of this glitter. We're going to go in with a decorative strip, making sure it all runs the same direction. It appears to be so. It's not going to be enough. Is this wide enough? This might be wide enough actually. There we go. I'm going to turn it over and I'm just going to trim it all away. That way to start, to be honest. Really awkward to cut it this way, but these leave a groove on them. Tell you what I might do. I'm just going to chuck it in my cutter. Normally I trim it down with just some scissors, but those ones leave a bit of a groove. Let's just grab this. We just need Neatening off these edges. This one. There we go. It's not the straightest, but it's fine. It's fine. So we've got obviously like our scraps in terms of these bits and pieces, which can sit over there. But in terms of what's left of my 12 by 12 sheet, this is it. That's all I've got left of my 12 by 12. All of it has been used apart from that. And what I'll actually do is I'll put that to one side, because dependent on which side of the sheet I use, and if I go back and get another one of these pads, then I may have some more of these scraps which will actually come together to make me another card. There's no saying that I couldn't actually get this to work for another one. But for now, we'll pop that over there. So we've got these. I just want to pop some of these on here, just to help finish these ones off. Again, I'm just covering those joins. Over like so. That's a finished panel. This is a finished panel. Go that way, that way. Over as well. We have these two, which ones will fit, so we'll grab two of these. One and two. Yeah. So I need 5 more card blanks. So 1, 4, 5. Yeah. And then the next step, once these are all attached, is then doing the sentiments and embellishing. And what you do and what you put on at this point is entirely up to you. One, two, 4. And last but not least, number 5. There we go. So, we've made one of those. We have 2 of those, 2 of those. We have 2 of those. We have 2 with that pattern in and 2 like that. So we've made 11 cards out of that so far, and now it's time to embellish. So what can we put on these? Let me grab my sentiments. Let me just grab my sentiments out and we'll have a look. Okay, so first I've got my sentiments, and I'm going to use the silver ones because that's the colour tone that I've worked with all of the bits of embellishments on here so far. Not the Merry Christmas. The Merry Christmas can go there. So I need 11 of these. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Great. Now some of these cards to me don't really need anything much more than a sentiment, and so will be really easy to finish off. Okay, so those cards are definitely this one. There's a lot going on here, so I'm going to pop the happy birthday in the middle there, and that is that one done. And then I also think these 2 here don't really need much. So we have the happy birthday on that one. And happy birthday on that one as well. So that leaves us with these 6. I actually think on the basis that these are quite heavily decorated with that paper stock that these don't really need a lot. I think if you add too much when they're already quite fussy and fancy, you can almost take them too far. So let's do that. And then I think the others all need just something a little bit extra. They're all obviously going to get the sentiments too, but I think I'm going to put that one in there like so. And then I'm going to grab another one. And then, sorry if you can hear Noah talking in the background. Guarantee you he's going to start shouting, "Mummy," in a minute. They don't know I'm in here. And then that on that one, just like that. So again, I don't think they need a lot. And then that leaves us with these 6, and I think these do need that little bit extra. So I'm going to go ahead and put the sentiments on anyway where I want them. So we have happy birthday here. And I'm going to go for up the top here on this one, like so. Move that to one side for extra embellishments. Then on this one that's the opposite way, I'm going to put the happy birthday at the bottom. Like so. Again, that's going over to my pile to finish later. Tape. So these happy birthdays, I'm actually going to put these through the middle here. Then these need finishing off because I need to put something there that's going to hide those joins. I'm not sure yet what I'm going to put there. Trying to think what little embellishments I've got could cover these. Have a bit in the middle of that one. Then I'll put these in the middle, but like towards the side here. Happy birthday, and then there we go. Put the extra tape to one side for now. I don't think I'll need it. So these two here are going to be really easy to finish because I know what I want to put on these. Let me just find what I'm after. What size I want. I might use the bigger ones to be honest. But I have some of these little clear crystals. I got them from Temu and I've not used them yet. I actually think these would be really nice just dotted on here. Like so. I think they'll be quite pretty. No real patterning to it, I guess. I just think they would be really pretty. Now, let me just grab some tweezers there. These are the backwards tweezers. I'm not very good with these, I must admit. Pop glue, pop those onto there. One. Oh, I'm really not very good with these. Need a lot more practice. But there we go. Right. That's not the lid to the glue. Oh my goodness, I'm going to have to wait for that dry now. Oh dear me. Sometimes. So that kind of finishes those ones off. I really like those little drops on there. Put those there to dry. And then that leaves me with these ones and these ones. Maybe some little pearls on this one. I've got some pearls right here. And the two I'm going to pop them. We're going to go for one. There. Two, three. Just so I finish them off slightly. And then I'm going to do the same with this one. I'm going to do them in this bottom corner here. All I'm really doing is just trying to fill some of that blanker space. Not entirely blank because we've used the embossed cardstock underneath it. But that is those two. So then my last one to work out is these, and I just want something to cover those joints there. What have I got? Hold on. What can I use? Got over here. I mean, I could go for some pearls. Like, I have got these little pale purple pearls. Would that look too regimented? I keep meaning to use things that are in here, but these came from a craft clearance I had, and I don't think I've used anything out of this yet myself. That's too dark. I don't want the black. Don't want those. Don't want those. Don't want those. Don't think the peach ones really go. So, plus, oh God, so much glitter in that box. I regret that. Instant regret on that front. I'm not sure. I might just leave those for a bit and come back to it. I can't think of what I can put in. I really want to cover the join so you can't see the join. Although it's not a messy one, to be fair. But I think I'm going to leave it at that because this video's been quite long and I might come back and put something on them. But we've made those two cards. We've made those two. We have these two. These ones. These ones. And this one. I'm really happy with that. And I really hope it's inspired you to get out your 12 by 12 papers to see what you can do. And as I say, go and check out loads of other creators. There's loads of people that do like the chop it ups with the 12 by 12s to see how many cards they can get out of a sheet. And they do lots of different things. They'll use die cutting and they'll do different shapes and that. I've stuck to very basic ones, things that you can do with a cutter or a pair of scissors. There's nothing I've done here that needs a die cutting machine. So if you haven't got one, don't worry about it. I hope you've enjoyed this video and I hope it's inspired you to get your crafting out. If you haven't already, please do hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much for joining me here today. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, a wonderful rest of your week, and happy crafting.